Welcome back to Davos, and this is the press room here at the World Economic Forum. And there's a real buzz building in here as the European papers build towards their deadlines, and also as some of the other newspapers have already passed their deadlines. But I'm joined by our editor, Lionel Barber, who's been meeting many people throughout this week. What are the themes that have been emerging? I mean, surely the economy is probably the most important one.
Yeah, the real big change, I think, this year is there's a sense that the sleeping giant is really stirring. That is the American economy. I think consensus is definitely 3 to 4% growth this year, maybe towards the upper end. Admittedly, that comes from a low basement. Worries about jobs. The unemployment rate is unlikely to come down soon, so therefore President Obama is still going to be under some pressure. But that's good news for the world economy.
And a lot of worries about debt, not just in the States, but in Europe as well.
Yeah, there's a real funny kind of dichotomy here, because on the side of the bankers, and I've spoken to a lot of top bankers this week, there's a feeling that maybe there's an explosion going to go off in the next quarter or so, that they were in the sovereign debt markets, that Portugal may well have to come to accept a rescue. Of course, the Lisbon government says it won't. On the other hand, the politicians, and noticeably President Sarkozy earlier this week, are really come out fighting. They've said there is no way we will abandon the euro. And so at the same time, there's a lot of work, I think, going on towards making this rescue mechanism, the stabilization facility, more robust, more flexible.
And if we turn towards the emerging markets, there seems to be much more of a subtle picture that's developing there, as things aren't quite as rosy everywhere as we thought before.
Well, I think this was summed up by the new Indian marketing slogan. Last year it was Incredible India. This year it's the rather more modest, inclusive India. And I think that reflects something really quite interesting, and that is that India is really getting worried about the gap between rich and poor, worried about inclusiveness, and also some big questions about whether they've got enough human capital to drive this economy forward compared to China. And there, I think the consensus is still China's going to power ahead, and even with an ability to control the inflationary pressures.
And turning to geopolitics, we've got a very sensitive situation developing across North Africa. People must be very concerned about how this could develop. What happens next?
I think people really don't know the answer, because some are saying this could be a domino theory, starting Tunisia, then affecting obviously the critical economy and country in that region, which is Egypt. But at the same time, another fear, which is, fine, if there is a democratic so-called street protests ousting the regime, what comes next? Is it the Muslim Brotherhood? Do we have a kind of cedar revolution in Lebanon, and suddenly Hezbollah is sitting in the seat of power? So some very big questions about what will happen next, particularly in Egypt.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed, Lionel. I'll have to let you get on with your own deadlines, and we'll have some answers in tomorrow's Financial Times.